So for those of you who've been watching my videos for a long time, you know that one of the things that I love to do is to teach. And I am one of the electives for our University of Minnesota family medicine residents to rotate through my office to learn some of the stuff that we do. A lot of these residents are going to be working in rural areas, and there won't be podiatrists available to trim some of these very gnarly nails or calluses. So this video is going to show you the experience of one of these residents who is in her second week already, but learning how to trim some calluses on one of our favorite patients. So please enjoy the video.
It's just a theory, but then I think my feet tried to pronate a little, so I'm kind of leaning down on the thing a little bit.
Well, you can always, or certain pedals you can cant in or out.
Yeah, and then I had some of these things that you put under the cleat that are a little bit of a wedge.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yep. Lamont made them, they were called the wedgie or something.
The wedgie, yeah.
But yeah, I still got some, but I don't know. It seemed like it made it worse because I tilt the shoe more, and then it would lean on it even further.
Right, so for that callus, you would want to tip back in a little bit.
Yeah, and that's kind of, it's hard on my knee.
Right.
You know, so I just, isn't really too broken, so I'm not going to fix it.
Yeah, by us trimming it every couple months, it seems to be doing okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping maybe you could do it a little, like 6 weeks or something.
We can do it as frequently as you'd like. You know, what a lot of people will do is they'll come in 6 weeks just for the calluses, and then 6 weeks after that for the nails and calluses.
Uh-huh.
And
yeah.
So we could do it that way.
Sure. Then use your expert opinion on what else needs to be done, you know?
Yeah, I mean, your nails don't need to be cut every 6 weeks.
No,
so
I kind of do them at home too as needed.
Yeah.
Mainly because I got these cycling socks that are like $10 a pair, and I don't want to poke holes in them
exactly.
for something stupid like a nail that could have been trimmed.
Right, exactly. So, you know, why don't we try 6 weeks just for the callus?
Uh-huh.
So set up 2 appointments, set up one for 6 weeks for the callus, and then 6 weeks later for, we'll call it routine care.
Uh-huh.
And that'll include everything.
Okay.
And then we'll see how the heels look. Maybe we'll need to get you back in 2 weeks for those.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, winter's coming, and I think my feet are going to dry out unless I get this thyroid thing in check. But
well,
you know, the weird thing was, every year around November, December, you know, I mean, historically, other years when 175 would work fine, it seemed like it would go hyper on me around November, December for some reason. I'm guessing I'm changing my exercise schedule, cutting way back, and it's just...
Well, do you put your bike on a wind trainer at home?
Not no more.
Okay.
I used to, but...
What do you do in the winter for pushing back just a little bit?
Nothing a whole lot. I try to get out on a fat bike a little bit and take walks when I can.
Where do you like to go fat biking?
I'm sorry?
Where do you like to go fat biking?
Just around the neighborhood, kind of.
Yeah.
I'm not really a trail rider. I gave it up a long time ago. I'm not good with crashing.
Oh, yeah.
So forward and down or back and down?
Yeah.
Instead of straight down.
Road riding, I think I've only been on the floor once in about 33 years or something.
So you've wiped out?
Yeah, I hit an unexpected bump really hard and knocked my hand off the handlebar.
Oh.
And I tried to save it. I went about another 10 feet. And
I think the last time I fell off my bike, I tried riding my bike here and home, which is just a couple miles, but I was going down Golden Valley Road toward Worth Parkway, and I hit a rut. They didn't have the bike lane yet, so I was kind of in the gutter, and I hit a rut and went over onto the sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a lot of road rash, I was covered in blood. I
Ooh,
just sat
yeah.
there for a minute. Do you think a single car even rolled down their window and said, "Hey, are you okay?"
Yeah,
That's a
No,
shame.
not a single person.
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I ride my bike quite a bit. I was commuting on Plymouth from the hospital, and we actually had a resident, he got hit by a car on that same route the week of graduation and had an unstable vertebral fracture, so he had to be in the hospital to get it corrected. And it was literally the same intersection. This car almost hit me, and I had the right of way. It was the walk sign was on, and
Yeah,
it's just incredible if you're not, people just really, especially when they're driving, they're just not watching.
yeah, distracted.
Mm-hmm.
At least sort of cut down a little by making them drive two-handed, But then they just put it on the dashboard and start screwing around with it there or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
When I was in med school, one of my classmates got hit and thrown like 50 yards.
Yikes.
So this car must have been going really fast, and his helmet was destroyed. Had he not been wearing it, he would have been dead.
Yep.
But as it was, he was in the hospital. I don't think he had a vertebral fracture, but I know a severe concussion and some other injuries, and he missed like an entire semester of med school.
Severe concussion with a helmet, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that would have really been bad without.
That was also 30 years ago, so the helmets are a little bit
Yeah.
different.
Well, yeah, now, well, they got the MIPS where there are two helmets in one, where if you crash, the helmet will rotate a little, that's supposed to help.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of
I
that.
hadn't either, so it'll
Yeah,
absorb some
I
of the
haven't
shock.
bought any. I've been buying these helmets that were once upon a time high-end helmets, but they get them for like 1/3 the price. So I've been using those. But even those now, they got that styrofoam liner in them,
Mhm.
but they have what they call built-in roll cage. You got a reinforcement inside that liner, so it'll stay together if you have multiple impacts.
Well, I only had one bad impact other than the one down here. And so I had my daughter on one of those little, what do you call them, the little things that so it's like a tandem, but it's lower for the kids.
Oh yeah, tailgater or
Something
something.
like that, yeah. And we were on one of the paved trails, like near the green line or something, and or the greenway. And I hit a patch of ice
Ooh.
and went down, and
Yeah.
scared the devil out of her because I didn't move for a few seconds, and totally destroyed my helmet. But
Huh.
had I not had it on,
Yeah, no,
Pretty, so,
yep, that looks good.
good, okay.
Yep. Now,
This one's
some of these are
pretty hefty.
scars. That's a
Yeah.
scar. So I don't usually do this one.
You don't,
No,
okay.
that's a callus.
Uh-huh.
That's a scar from when. What did they do for those warts? X-ray them?
or what?
The warts that left the scars?
I don't think he did anything.
I thought they did like X-ray or laser or something.
We were trying to get laser approved with insurance, but there was some kind of mess. It was just
So-
what do you want to call it, a mess with the paperwork, and, and you gave up on it. I might have been the reason you quit getting the laser in or something.
No,
I know.
no, but I thought there was something that caused this, because not all of those are calluses, some of them are scars.
Uh-huh.
So,
I have no idea what they're
Okay.
from.
all right, I thought
Never got an official diagnosis.
forward and down. Gotta go, there you go, instead of straight down.
I was trying to kind of go to the back this way, but you think more.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a question of, instead of going straight up and down, if you kind of do that, you'll get better blade action.
Oh, I see. Okay, so less of like a
Yeah.
safety thing, more of a
Seems weird.
efficiency.
It feels like
No,
me just picking at it, but I bet you're peeling it off layer by layer.
can I show you what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so instead of just trying to, like he said, picking it out, if you kind of go forward and down, then the scalpel will slice better.
For you?
Yeah,
Okay.
instead of just doing this,
I see. Oh, I see.
forward and down or back and down.
Okay, then using more of the actual
The blade.
surface area.
Yeah, so you're letting the blade do it for you instead of Just trying to do that.
I see.
It doesn't
You-
bother
she's-
me. It just feels like somebody's picking on it a little.
Yeah, well, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except you're really actually
Yeah, yeah.
removing, not just picking.
You don't have to do it on the same angle like I
Okay.
showed you. You could, yeah, like that, but again, you want to use the blade a little bit. No, she's been doing a really good job.
Yeah. What really gets me sometimes, when I see it more on TV, when they get a newbie and they look too nervous when they're doing it besides, you gotta put a little confidence in it.
Well, and the
Like
thing
she-
is when I have the residents come in, it's not like they're students. They're doctors and they've
Yeah,
been doing
sure.
this for a while. I'm just,
So when you get, it starts out as an intern, right?
Mm-hmm,
And
yeah.
then you go resident and you graduate or move up, I guess.
Yeah, your first year is your intern year. This is my last year, which is crazy to think how fast it goes by, but, so we do some of this stuff in the clinic, but we don't do it nearly as frequently as our podiatry colleagues, and so, I wanna go rural, so I wanna work in a rural area. And so being able to do this kind of stuff for our patients, especially our patients that have diabetes, is really important.
so basically I'm just fine tuning.
Yes. And she's doing an excellent job of fine tuning.
Now, which orthopedist are you working with right now?
I work with, he does shoulder, elbow, and knees.
Elbow, shoulder, knees, okay. So you're learning a lot of anatomy,
Yeah,
or you're using the anatomy you learned in undergrad.
yeah, and adding to it. I've never had any injuries in my shoulder or elbow, so everything is kind of new.
Well, I had shoulder surgery, and for 2 years I tried to avoid it by doing PT
Yeah,
in Cairo, and even after 2 years, I still don't understand shoulder anatomy.
what was the injury?
Well, it's actually a bone spur.
Oh,
Now I got
okay.
it over here.
Yeah,
So I saw,
yeah,
have you ever worked with Dr.? He's pretty great.
yeah.
He does hips, knees, and shoulders, and he's a good guy who will sit down and talk with you,
Mhm.
and how I describe it to patients, because I refer a lot to him.
Who is it, the doctor?
At TCO,
Oh.
and I say he does not do the whole appointment with his hand on the doorknob,
Yeah,
like I've seen some of them do.
yeah.
Because I had a work comp injury, and they made me get a subatomic decompression, and I had Dr.
Mhm.
Sports and shoulder, I forget, they call it something else now.
Yeah. He's, they're like Minneapolis Sports Medicine or something like that.
Yeah, it's over at Abbott.
Mhm. Yeah, he's-
Turned out pretty good.
He, for a long time, was the shoulder guy,
Yeah,
because he did the twins, I think.
yep, Twins, Gophers. I know he had a few plaques about which teams he was working with that. This was like in '03 or something. It was pretty funny because I had a QRC, make sure that I was getting treated properly by the company and stuff. He told her that my shoulder would be significantly improved if I had shoulder surgery. So I go and, they finally railroaded me on, it's either your job, surgery or your job. So what the heck, surgery. And I was out for a whole year, and when I got all done, I had the same work restrictions I had before I went in, you know what I mean? So the only person that came out ahead on that one was that, the QRC's company, Stupid. God, they made an obscene amount of money. I saw that. God, I think they got like 15 grand for just taking care of me, and I didn't even think they,
Yeah, we're in the
Yeah.
wrong business, huh?
yeah.
I'm just gonna stick my head out and see if I've got a patient waiting.
So I think these are done.
Yeah.
And then there was,
Well, I'm not trying to insult anybody, but it almost seemed like she was just doing it to make some money off of me or something,
yeah.
you know, some extra money.
So the only thing that I would do differently is then I would come
Take the
and,
core out.
yeah, try and circumscribe that a little bit. Well, maybe not, maybe this will just, yeah, go just a little bit deeper right there. But again, you see how doing forward and down instead of straight down. I mean, there's times where going like that is fine, but bigger callus like this, you really need to go forward and down,
Yeah.
forward and down.
Appreciate it if you take off absolutely as much as possible.
Big to China.
Yeah. Well, we'll get you back in 6 weeks too, so. All right. And then with this, yeah, so the circumscribing would be just going in with the tip, go around, circumscribe it a little bit, and then it should be able to pop right out there. Like that.
Okay.
Again, just takes practice to know how deep to go.
Yeah, I'd rather not go too deep, so this is
Yeah.
good.
All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put the back down. The bigger ones, these are made for calluses.
That's nice.
Yeah, and so what you wanna do with it is you just wanna take big swipes, because if you leave it on one spot, it will cover. Yeah.
Do you wipe it with alcohol?
You can, yeah, to pull it off a little bit. All right, Richard, all the cutting is done. She's just gonna sand off your heels a little bit, so I'm gonna run into the next room.
Sure.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So 6 weeks calluses.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, just covered 6 weeks calluses, 12 weeks routine. All covered. Okay. All right. Good to see ya. Good to see you.
And I'm thinking there might be a little bit of a callus by my big toe on that foot kind of over on the inside.
Right here.
Yeah. Your call if it needs anything.
Yeah, had she sanded this one in the past for you and that was enough? Because I don't know if there's enough to really use
Not enough to worry about.
Well, I don't know if there's enough to use the blade with it, but I could sand it down just a
Yeah,
little bit.
that's what she usually does.
Oh yeah, perfect. I think we got it.
Looks good.
Okay.
All right.
It's 2:45. What time do you need to leave, Doc?
About 3, so that's perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wonderful. Well, it was really nice to meet you today. I hope this gets you some miles on your bike without any issue.